Good morning, Bulls fans. I want to talk about a player that I've talked about before, but I want to go more in depth given a bunch of things that have happened recently. And that's Hannes Steinbach out of Washington. I'm going to talk about some strengths, weaknesses, some stats, some comparisons, all the good stuff. But before I get too deep into the video, I want to know, are you guys excited for the Bulls' future? I'm really excited for the Bulls' future, especially after that Splitter signing. But I want to know if you guys are. If you guys are excited for the future, make sure to hit the like and hype button down below to show me. Now, Steinbach is a 20-year-old freshman center. As I said, played for Washington last year. He's 6'11 with a 7'2.5" wingspan. And one big reason why I think Steinbach could go to the Bulls is, well, first off, I think there's always been a chance of him coming to the Bulls. I think he's always been right in our range, whether it was when we were at 9 or now that we're at 15. I see him going in that late lottery range. So that's the first thing. But also, I think Splitter might want to go grab himself a center. I mean, that was what he played. So it makes sense now that he's the full-on head coach, not the interim coach. He has his own team now that he knows he gets to keep. I could see him pounding the table for a center that he can take under his wing, mold, develop, kind of like a passion project, you know? For his stats this year, in 34.6 minutes per game, Steinbach averaged 18.5 points on 57.7% shooting, 1.6 assists, 11.8 rebounds, 1.2 blocks, and 1.1 steals per game. And I do want to note that those 11.8 rebounds led the entire country in boards per game. So, I mean, literally doesn't get much better in the rebounding department than Steinbach. And that's one of the big draws there. He looks like he can be the next offensive center, one of the next great offensive centers, offensive superstars. That's kind of his calling card. And I mean, if we go to the strengths, like I said, elite rebounder, led the entire country in rebounding, which you don't always see power conference centers getting that just because the talent's there. You normally see it from the mid-majors, but seeing him do it in the Big Ten, which in my opinion is the number one conference in the nation, kind of speaks volumes to his rebounding. Next is he can space the floor. Now, I'm not going to say he's a knockdown three-point shooter by any means, but he shot the three at a decent clip. He shot over 35% from three this year. But I'll get into a little bit later why that could be misleading. But one way or another, he was taking threes and he was knocking them down. The next I have kind of backs off that is he was efficient. He averaged over 57% from the field, over 35% from three, and over 75% from the free throw line, which when it comes to a center, not much more you can ask for. I want my center to be able to, like I said with him at first, he's not a knockdown shooter by any means. I don't need my center to be a knockdown shooter by any means. I just need a center that has a reliable enough jump shot that you can't leave him open on the three. I need someone that can prove to hit it at a reliable clip so that the defense can't sag off of him. They have to be guarding him and open up the floor more. Next is his combine measurables. I was very, very impressed with his combine measurables. He had a 10.9 lane agility drill, a 2.89 shuttle, his 9-inch hand length, 10-inch hand width, 9-foot standing reach, 7'2" and a quarter inch wingspan. I mean, he's he's kind of what I'm looking for in a center. I mean, not to mention he's 248 pounds, so he's got the physical imposement. He's physically imposing, and you see all this. He's he's quick. He's got a decent vert. He's not the greatest vertical athlete by any means, but 35 and a half inch vertical. I mean, for a 6'11", 248-pound center, I'm not going to say a 35 and a half inch vertical is bad by any means. The last one I have is he gets to the free throw line. I mean, getting to the free throw line is a skill, especially if you're a center. Like, it's obviously easier for centers to get to the free throw line just because they're at the rim, so more people are around them. More people around him means a better chance of getting hacked. And he got to the free throw line pretty well. It was average, but 5 free throws a game attempted, that's nothing to scoff at. I'm pretty happy if my center's shooting 5 to 6 a game. Get him in the NBA where, let's be honest, the whistle is a little bit more prevalent than in college. He can probably get to the line about 7 times a game now. So, and like I said, he's shooting over 75% when he gets to the line. Now, as I always say, with strengths come weaknesses. His weakness is the athleticism, but specifically that vertical athleticism. Like I said, he's very quick, very agile, so I'm not going to try and say he's not a good athlete, but if we're talking strictly a vertical athlete, yes, 35 and a half, like I said, isn't a bad vertical by any means, but he also doesn't have a pterodactyl wingspan. Like, 35 and a half is pretty average for a center's vertical, and a wingspan 3 inches longer than their height, pretty average. So it's not like he's Walker Kessler that has just this absolutely pterodactyl wingspan where if he doesn't have the best vert, he can make up for it with that. So he does have that working against him a bit, but I mean, he has years before he even reaches his prime, so he has room to improve his vert. I mean, obviously you can't really improve your wingspan, but his vert you can always find a way to get another inch or two to your vert and help you out there. Next is his playmaking. Now, he averaged 1.8 or 1.6 assists per game, as I said, but he did also average 2 turnovers. So, in the grand scheme, more turnovers than assists, obviously never a good thing. Now, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, he's getting more turnovers than assists. Like, he's a center. I'm not going to expect him to get 3 more assists than he does turnovers. But, I mean, it's not the best, but it's definitely somewhere he can improve, and definitely something that isn't the biggest concern, because you can always teach that. You can always teach that. Next, I have perimeter defense, and I'll throw in the rim protection there. Defense as a whole is kind of the thing that people knock him for the most. And I mean, I get it. but he he's getting 2 stocks a game. So, and I know stocks aren't the end all be all argument for a good defender, but if he's getting 2 stocks a game, I'm not gonna sit here and say he's a terrible defender. So if he's getting 2 stocks a game, there's clearly something there to work with. He's got the side to side or the lateral athleticism. He's got the agility. The tools are there. It's just a matter of putting them all together. And I think having a coach like Tiago Splitter, who was the starting center for Tim Duncan, was playing alongside Tim Duncan for the majority of his career. I mean, call Tim up. Call Tim up if you can. He probably can talk to David Robinson. Get David Robinson in there. He, first off, has this defensive knowledge because Splitter was a good defensive center in his day, but he also knows some of the greatest defensive centers to ever play the game. So he can easily bring them in-house, have them work with him, and we can get his defense looking better in no time. The last one I have is the 3-pointers was low volume. And that's where I said I'll talk later about why his 3-point efficiency could be deceiving. He shot under 2 a game. So small sample size. You have to pose the question, was he shooting efficiently because he wasn't shooting often, so didn't have many chances to miss? Or was he not shooting them because that just wasn't what the offense was, and he was knocking them down because he can knock down the 3? So I think time will tell with that, but I mean, 35%, even if it's low volume, still shows that there's a 3-point shot there. How good it is, up for discussion, but it shows that something is there. For comparison, the one I liked the most was Kevin Love. And I do want to preface this, when I say he reminds me of Kevin Love, I more so say Kevin Love without the 3-point shot. Because Kevin was shooting 5 to 6 threes a game, hitting them at, I think, a 37% clip. So definitely take the 3-point shooting and diet it down a little bit, but eats the glass for breakfast, eats boards for breakfast. Averages right around 2 assists, which, again, not bad for a center. Kevin averaged in the 1.7, 1.8 range for most of his career. Steinbach averaged 1.6. Steinbach, 18.5. Kevin averaged about 17, 18 for most of his career. In Minnesota, he was averaging over 20. So I see a lot of it there. I did also see a lot of comparisons of Alperen Şengün, Domantas Sabonis, which I do like those too. I think there's shades of Sabonis in there with the rebounding and offensive skill set. Same with Şengün. And I mean, these are all guys that are offensive superstars, eat the boards for breakfast, and are average defenders. So, I mean, that's kind of what Steinbach is looking like coming into the league. So it makes sense that those 3 guys are the main 3 that I've seen people compare him to. Now, for my thoughts, in my opinion, it's a no-brainer. If he's at 15, you take him, because I think he will be going, or should be going, around the 10th pick. I see him in the 9 to 11 range of the draft. So if he falls all the way to 15, you don't think twice, you take him. And like I said, I think it would be great now that we have a center for a head coach who has a track record of being able to develop players. I say take Steinbach under his wing, see if he can get the defense to be above average instead of average. Because if Steinbach can develop a 3-point shot and a defensive game, he could be an all NBA player. He could be a multiple time All-Star and be a fringe all NBA player for years to come. But with everything that I've laid out here, all the stats, the strengths, the weaknesses, I want to know what you guys think. Would you want Hannes Steinbach to be a Bull? Comment definitely or nope down below. Now, please share, please subscribe. We're trying to reach 1,900 subscribers. We're roughly 60 away. Every share matters, every like matters, every subscriber matters. We love having you guys here. We love the community we've built, and we just hope to keep building it into the best community in the Bulls fandom. We love having you guys around, and we hope you guys keep sticking with us. With that being said, thank you for joining me today. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We're posting there every day as well as here. Like I said, we're trying to build the best Bulls community possible. I hope you guys all have an amazing, amazing day. And as always, see Red Bulls Nation.